the football field. The object of their affection and attention, Paul Bunyan's axe. It's a symbol of football superiority, a monument, the manly feats and machismo of the legendary that it is named after. Wisconsin and Minnesota for the axe. Who will wield the axe today? That's the question that begs inside the Metrodome. ESPN2 presents Wisconsin against Minnesota, the season closer for both teams. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman. Welcome to Minneapolis. This being the longest-running rivalry in all of college football, this is the 111th edition of this matchup. Expect today's game to take on a bowl-like intensity. For Wisconsin, their seniors do not want to go out on a losing note. A group of seniors that have won 2 Rose Bowls, they come ready to play today, especially on offense.
Well, on offense, they have a variety of weapons. First of all, let's start with Brooks Bollinger, a guy that's thrown for over 1,000 yards. And the thing about him that's impressive is his versatility. He can do it from a spread offense, he can do it from a conventional offense, and he can also run the option. Then you have Lee Evans, a guy who can go for 42 more yards, will become the record breaker for a single season in receiving yards. He's outstanding, he's a big threat. Then you talk about the freshman sensation in Anthony Davis. Over 1,258 yards, which leads the Big Ten. Now, he's not a power back, but he is a burner. Let me tell you, he can fly.
Keep an eye on him today. On the other side of the field, there are 16 Minnesota Golden Gopher seniors playing in their final game today at home. Jack Brewer, one of those seniors, told me before the game he addressed the team a very stirring and poignant moment last night at the team's hotel. He says, hey, it's time to show they can do it running the ball.
Well, they have to do it running the football because that's what Minnesota does best. To a man, all the Big Ten coaches that we talked to this year, they said they're the toughest team to defend versus a run, and that's because of 2 guys, Tellis Redmond and Marion Barber. Together, they combine for 169 yards per game. If you can do that and do that effectively, usually you can control the football, and Kalik will become more effective throwing the football today, the quarterback.
Redmond approaching 1,000 yards rushing on the ground. The one thing you can expect in this series, the unexpected. Right now, we're going to go back to the studio with Reese Davis.
Mark, thank you very much. Rod Gilmore, Mark Mayer here with us. Guys, we've got another rivalry weekend of sorts coming up. We've got the Axe coming up right here for you on ESPN2. And a little bit later on tonight, a little bowl positioning battle going on in the Big East. Boston College and Syracuse. Dwight Freeney was invisible against Miami, visible on his promo panel. And we'll see if he gets to know Brian St. Pierre by the end of the evening, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Things will be cracking in the early part of the day. The old backyard brawl. One of my partners familiar with that one. Pitt in West Virginia, Antonio Bryant, the Panthers taking on Rich Rodriguez for the first time. And then the old Oak and Bucket battle. Antoine Randall taking on Purdue. Randall put up spectacular numbers. And, of course, a team up north. Jim Tressel leads his team against the team up north. Lloyd Carr in Michigan. Keep an eye on that for you. That one kicks off in just under an hour. Some other games we'll be providing highlights of and cut-ins throughout the afternoon. Doing Indiana, Iowa, and Iowa State. Both of those teams bowl eligible, just trying to make that record look a little better and get some bragging rights. Missouri and Kansas State, both of those teams needing to win to become bowl eligible. Missouri would actually have to win a couple of them. Gentlemen, look at the early part of the day already this weekend. We've had the stunner with Colorado beating Nebraska, and we've got the rivalry game coming up with Ohio State and Michigan as well. Lee Evans, 42 yards away from breaking David Boston's record. We'll have it in a bit.
He's our best.
Where'd you learn to shoot? Boy Scout, sir.
Sent undercover in the most dangerous situations.
What is your connection? I have no connection.
Now, he's in trouble.
Tom Bishop's been arrested for espionage.
And the game, I'm getting him out, is
We got 0 room for error.
on.
Get out of the way!
Usually called Spy Game, gripping and entertaining. It's everything you want in a spy thriller. It keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Spy Game, rated R. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Hey, Hallie Eisenberg, drinking a Pepsi.
Actually, this isn't a Pepsi. It's new Pepsi Twist with lemon. And I'm not Hallie Eisenberg.
I'm Halle Berry.
Drinking Pepsi Twist.
Well, it's not exactly Pepsi Twist. It's Diet Pepsi Twist. And I'm not exactly Halle Berry.
You know.
I'm Barry Bostwick.
Who is Barry Bostwick?
Like twists? Try new Pepsi Twist in regular and diet. A lemon twist on that great Pepsi taste.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Universal Pictures and Beacon Pictures Spy Game. Robert Redford, Brad Pitt, Spy Game, in theaters now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Minneapolis inside the bubble at the Metrodome. Minnesota taking on Wisconsin, the 111th edition of this rivalry. Right now, we're going to go downstairs to Holly Rowe, who's got a close-up look at that axe. Right, Holly?
You better believe it. The axe is one of the most storied trophies in college football history. Now, this series started back in 1890, but the axe was actually presented in 1948. That was so long ago, they've actually run out of room on the axe handle to start writing the scores. They're down to little tiny numbers along the axe's handle so they can get the scores on as history. Now, is it still a big deal to the players? You better believe it. For Barry Alvarez in Wisconsin, the equipment managers told me they have had to carry that axe out and hold it on the sideline every day of practice this week for 2 hours. They said they felt pretty stupid, but it was important to Alvarez, and they did it. He then took the axe and held it before the team, talking after every practice. They care. For Minnesota, their seniors were honored before this game. It's their last home appearance. They've never won the axe. You better believe they'd like nothing more than to carry it off the field today.
Yeah, that's right, Holly. Those Minnesota players tired of seeing Wisconsin Badgers chop down the goalposts with that axe, Chris Spielman. And Glenn Mason was talking about the fact that this is Minnesota's second consecutive trophy, so to speak, game. Last week, one against Iowa.
Well, it's one, too, that they need to win. Obviously, they're at home. It's the seniors' last game. It's a chance for them to go out with a disappointing season for the standards that Glenn Mason has set for himself and the Golden Gophers, but to go out a winner not only for the team next year, but for the seniors that are graduating this year.
16 of them on the field today for the Golden Gophers. Minnesota wins the toss. They have elected to receive. A look at some of the storied and compelling rivalries in all of college football. Wisconsin and Minnesota leading the way. Missouri, Kansas, Texas defeating A&M yesterday, and Nebraska, Kansas, also 108 editions of that one.
You know, that's why I love college football, Mark. We can play for an axe and it means something. That's awesome. That's what defines college football, man.
Sure it does.
Celebration of youth.
Noser set to kick off for the Badgers. And back deep. It's Marion Barber III for Minnesota. This will be Henderson instead. Henderson takes it out to the 32-yard line, and that's where the Golden Gophers will start off on their first offensive possession. Assad Abdul-Khalik, a 6', 201-pound sophomore, is the starting quarterback. Last week against Iowa, he threw for over 300 yards, a career day for him.
Yeah, he's getting better every game, and I watched him throw the deep ball in practice yesterday, Mark, and every one was right on the money.
Look at the skilled people behind him. Redmond, Johnson, Burns, Henderson on that return. Ben Utecht, a good catching tight end.
Big target.
First down and 10, and let's not forget about Ron Johnson, number 3. He has rewritten some of the record books here in Minnesota. They hand it off on first and 10. Nowhere to go for Redmond between the tackles. Wendell Bryant, number 77 for Wisconsin, in on the stop along with Hawthorne. A look at that offensive line. Cuppy, Akinwale, Burns, Carter, and Anderle up front.
Derek Burns, a great athlete playing center, has the ability to pull as a center.
Wendell Bryant, one of the guys to watch up front for the Badgers, joined by Herbert, Smith, and James.
Bryant probably be a #1 draft pick.
Leads the Big Ten in sacks with 8 on the season. Second down and 10. Redmond again stopped up, that time by Hawthorne, right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down and long, a situation they want to stay out of if you're Minnesota. Look at the linebackers for Wisconsin. Schick, Greisen, and Thompson.
Greisen, the leading tackler in the Big Ten, including all games. Very active player inside.
Over 13 stops per contest on the corner. Starks and Eccles going to be tested today by Johnson.
Starks, a true freshman. Eccles, the veteran, who's a good player, Mark.
Jose and Broussard, the safeties. Johnson split to the bottom of your screen. Third and long. Henderson short of the first down by about yards at the 36-yard line. Bryson making the tackle, and it's 3 and punt for Minnesota on its first offensive possession of the ballgame.
I'll tell you, B.J. Tucker, the corner, did a nice job of forcing that ball back inside, and you saw Grayson White has 13 tackles a game coming from his middle linebacker spot, the tackle receiver on the sidelines.
Brunig averaging over 41 yards per punt. Nick Davis has returned a lot in his career, but he won't this one, as it bounces through the end zone, and Wisconsin will start off on its own 20 for their first possession of the ballgame. Brooks Bollinger is the starting quarterback, 6'2", 202-pound junior.
We mentioned about him in the open, Mark, his versatility. He can do it on the option. They run a little spread offense, but the biggest thing he brings to the table is his leadership, and the players respond to him. Got a great presence.
Look at the skilled people behind him. Mark Anelli had a great week last week against Michigan in that loss. Evans, Davis, Coons, and Davis. We talked about them in the opening. First down and 10 for the Badgers. Anthony Davis still on his feet. Over the 20, down to the 21, tackled by Jack Brewer. Now, the offensive line for the Badgers faced a lot of question marks coming into the season, but they have really thrived. All you have to do is witness the rushing numbers. Johnson, Benning, Johnson, Clinkscale, and Jowers up front.
Yeah, group has gotten better as the season goes on, and they're all back next year.
Going to be tested by Osei and White off the edges, Popinski and Reed in the middle. Second down and 8 for Wisconsin. Bollinger complete to Lee Evans. Evans has the first down and then some, closing in on a Big Ten receiving single-season record out to the 35. Let's take a look at the linebackers now for Minnesota. Henry in the middle, back after missing last week, joined by Archer and Vance.
Bradley Vance, a true freshman. Very good player. Can run, play the pass well.
Lehan and Dozier on the corners. Isom and Brewer inside at the safety spots.
Now, Jack Brewer's the leading tackler in Big Ten games. Very active from the strong safety.
First down and 10 for Wisconsin. Davis that time stopped up front by Popinski. No fumble. It was ruled down. Bollinger this year has been stymied by some injuries, but has still managed to pass for over 1,000 yards. And he runs the ball pretty well, too. He can make some plays outside of the box.
Yeah, he's just a player that I know that Brian White, the offensive coordinator from Wisconsin, anytime an offensive coordinator tells me that the players respond to him, and there's kind of a little twinkle in his voice, you know that the guy's a valuable asset to your offense.
On second down, Bollinger complete that time to Nick Davis, number 22, the 5'10 senior.
I'm not so sure he didn't bobble that before he went out of bounds.
Close, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
They'll give him the catch at about the 42-yard line.
See it right here. We'll take a look and we'll see. It's nice timing by Bollinger delivering the football. Watch me say it. Boom. There's a little bobble there, but referee was on. I guess he secured the ball with his left hand.
Third down and 3. Davis split wide to the top of your screen. Anthony Davis, the single back. Pass is complete to Evans for the first down at midfield. Lee Evans came into the game needing just 42 yards to break the Big Ten single-season record for receiving yardage. There he is, number 3.
Mark, what they had was a trips formation, and all of them ran what we call an option route past the sticks. Now, when you run that, Bradley Vance has got to work outside to number 2. If he doesn't work out to Lee Evans, who is lined up to the number 2 receiver, there's too much of a cushion for the corner to take the number 1 receiver, which is closest to the sidelines, and Lee Evans, who is lined up for the 2. Bradley Vance got to get width to stop that play, and Phil Archer's got to get width to work over there to help him.
Linebacker 101. First down and 10 for Wisconsin. Elliott in motion. And Bollinger incomplete under heavy duress from Greg White, number 50.
And they did a good job. Eisen did a good job picking up Anelli in the flat, who Brooks Bollinger wanted originally. That gave time for Greg White to work his magic on the corner and throw a little rip swim on the guy to get pressure on Bollinger, but Bollinger had the presence of mind to just go ahead and throw it out.
Greg White, an all Big Ten conference candidate, had a breakout season a year ago. Continuing that momentum this year. Second down and 10 for Wisconsin. Little counter to Anthony Davis. The little guy can scoot down to the 32-yard line. First and 10, Badgers.
That's what you talk about when you talk about speed and burst. You'll see here it's the old counter OE because you got Anelli, the tight end, pulling and gets a good block on Vance. Vance has got to work outside, and you see speed right there. Usually a linebacker has the ability, like Archer, to go ahead and get a running back like that, but when you got a guy that's a state champion sprinter, it's tough to get there.
He has 9 100-yard rushing games on the season. Here he is again. Down to the 28-yard line, brought down by Jack Brewer. Davis out of Plainfield, New Jersey. Defining point for him in the season was the second half of the Virginia game early in the season for Wisconsin, when coaches kind of told him to relax a little bit, and he did, and he ended up being quite productive from that point on. And then against Penn State, Davis went for over 200 yards on 37 carries and proved to himself that he was legit. Second down and 9 for Wisconsin. Lee Evans. Weaving and meandering down to the 14 as we go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, the battle for the old Oaken bucket turned into just that. The play's over, but you see Courtney Roby coming there and get a little piece of Stu Schweiger in the Indiana-Purdue, and then somebody said something about somebody's mama, and they all started pushing and shoving. They separated, and the dreaded offsetting personal fouls. Look at this. We're barely 15 seconds into this game, but 3-6, they're playing for the bucket. It means something, baby.
Ooh, it's getting kind of hectic, Reese. Anthony Davis down to the 10-yard line, running over Benning and Johnson that time. Wisconsin moving the ball methodically down the field. The drive that started on their own 18-yard line.
You know, one of the things that troubled Minnesota this year has obviously been their run defense, Mark. And what I see and what they can improve on going into the spring ball is getting 3 or 4 guys hitting the football. They're not getting 3 or 4 guys on the ball. They need to get 3 or 4 guys on the ball and start gang tackling. Because oftentimes it's one guy that's making a hit, and that's not enough against a good back like Anthony Davis.
This is the 11th play of the drive. Davis outside. Down to the 2-yard line is Anthony Davis. Got a good block from Benning up front.
Again, that's that counter OE. Why do I say OE? Because instead of the tackle, it's the end coming around. Tight end, you'll see Anelli right here coming in, leading up in the hole and getting a good block, sealing Phil Archer. Phil Archer's got to turn that ball back inside to where his help is. He tried to go underneath the block and make the play. And as a linebacker, if you go underneath the block, you better make the play or that happens right there.
Davis racking up the yardage already. 35 yards so far. Here he goes again. Brought down, might have been a face mask. Brought down at the 4-yard line. And there's a flag on the play as Davis's nets spun around.
Greg White did what he had to do to get him down. I think he inadvertently grabbed the face mask. It was a good effort. Sometimes that happens, though. Your fingers get caught up in there.
That's what the call is.
Obviously, it doesn't matter the distance. See right here, Greg White actually does a nice job of beating a double team and coming off blocks, getting in there. Yeah, kind of hit it. I don't know if he grabbed it. I know I'm a little defensive about defensive players, but yeah, maybe he got it a little bit.
Touch. Nose of the ball at the 2-yard line. Diminutive Anthony Davis, listed at 5'8", Chris, but that's a stretch. We saw him before the game on the field.
I think Spud Webb could post him up, Mark. I don't know if he's 5'8".
No lack of heart or speed. As I mentioned, 9 100-yard rushing games this season, tying an NCAA record.
Yeah, it's amazing that a guy of that size, I mean, really, he's 180 pounds, with toughness and speed and great balance and vision. And you mentioned the fact that the coaches said he was getting better. What's he getting better at? They said, just run, Anthony. Don't worry about it. Oftentimes, freshmen come in to big-time college situations, and they press because sometimes it's
behind the line of
overcoaching.
scrimmage. We'll go half the distance from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And you start overcoaching guys, and I'm not saying Wisconsin did. They did a good job of saying just run, be yourself, but a player wants to do everything right. He wants to take a 2-inch jab step. He wants to have his right foot planted 6 inches from his left foot. Forget about that. Play football, run, do what you do best, find the end zone.
instincts so important on first down and goal now for the Badgers. Anthony Davis has been the workhorse on this drive. This is the 12th play coming up. Davis, touchdown, Wisconsin. So Anthony Davis caps an arduous, methodical drive by the Badgers on their first possession to give Wisconsin a 6-0 lead.
It's a little too easy, Mark. They caved in that whole offensive right side of Minnesota's defensive line, pushed them back, and Anthony Davis basically just had to fall forward for the touchdown.
Those are in for the extra point. And Wisconsin leads 7-0. That's the 10th rushing touchdown this season for number 28. Anthony Davis making like the great namesake that preceded him at USC. We'll be right back.
Introducing the all-new Kia Spectra, an affordable car with so much more. Available with 6-speaker stereo, air conditioning, map lights, power windows, and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Are you still reading that?
Yeah, I can't put it down. Oh. Wow.
The 2002 Kia Spectra. Finally, a car you can really get into.
See what's so special about the Braun Synchro? It's the first shaver whose head moves from side to side, so it captures more hair and cuts closer. Only it moves so fast you can't see it, but you can hear it. And to keep it feeling like a new shaver every day, here's how to clean it.
It's free for you and cheap for them.
Save big bucks on every call. Just dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Statue of Liberty!
This place would be totally boring without me. I pull MP3s off the net from DJ sites all over the world, burn them onto CD, and rock the lot.
Easy CD Creator 5 from Roxio.
Look at the Doak Walker semifinalist of Wisconsin, Anthony Davis, scoring the touchdown just a few moments ago as the Badgers lead Minnesota 7-0. Look at the recent drive, 12 plays, 80 yards, using almost 5 minutes on the clock. And, Chris, we mentioned it did look, well, it wasn't really difficult for Wisconsin.
Lee Evans had 3 catches for 36 yards on that drive also. You mentioned to me, Mark, that's how you get a 1,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard receiver in one season.
That's Antoine Henderson out over the 20 to 23. Let's go to Reese Davis. Reese?
Okay, Mark, the pushing and shoving has subsided in the Purdue-Indiana game, so Indiana just gets down to running. The Big Ten's leading rusher, LeVron Williams, knifing through the Purdue defense and taking it to the house. Remember, the Boilers in the top 25 in America in rush defense. They haven't seen Antoine Randall and LeVron Williams yet.
Yeah, Reese, you can ask the Wisconsin Badgers about LeVron Williams. He went for almost 300 yards against them.
Randall running that option. LeVron running the option at tailback. Tough to stop.
Drew Khalid complete to Ron Johnson out at the 27-yard line. Ron Johnson playing his last game for Minnesota here at home. And he has just tied the NCAA record for consecutive games with a reception at 46 and counting. The meter's still running, folks.
He's been a consistent player for this program for a long time and really set the standard for what a receiver should be here at Minnesota. Big, tall, target, NFL prototype.
Second down and 4, Redmond. Out over the 30 to the 31. Bryson making the stop on the play. And it looks like the Minnesota first down. Let's go to Holly.
Guys, it's important to note that today Ron Johnson is playing with a severely injured left hand. On Wednesday in practice, he was blocking a punt. The punter kicked his fingers and severely dislocated two fingers, his ring finger and index finger of the left hand. They came through the skin. He's playing with stitches and a soft cast. We'll keep an eye on how that affects him throughout the day.
All right, Holly, it's 3rd down and 2 as Johnson came up a little bit shy of the first down. Here's the option. Redmond with a flag down, and Redmond down shy of the 35. Brought down by Thompson on the play. Assad Abdul-Khalik runs the option well for Minnesota.
He can do a lot of things, just like Brooks Bollinger.
But this one is against Minnesota. Let's go to Reese again.
Backyard brawl, Mark. Pitt in West Virginia. Brad Lewis from West Virginia will be swallowed up by Brian Knight and Gerald Hayes. Out for the game with a broken collarbone. Rasheed Marshall in there, quarterback. Guess where he's from? From Pittsburgh.
Great rivalries, too, in college football. West Virginia and Pittsburgh. Rich Rodriguez had a disappointing season, certainly not what he thought it would be.
You know what, though? We had a chance to do a game of theirs earlier, Mark, and he'll get that program turned around.
After the penalty, it's 3rd and 7 for Minnesota.
Not a manageable 3rd down for the Golden Gopher offense.
Complete to Johnson for the first down at the 41-yard line. He was working on Eccles on the play.
I love how Abdul-Khalik stands in there and waits for Johnson, stays patient. That's a good job of protecting. They did a nice job of doubling Wendell Bryan up front. That gave Khalik time to sit there, wait for Johnson to come across the middle, split the zone, and deliver a strike. Well-timed route. You see it right there. Bam, that's a strike right there. Eccles had pretty decent coverage, but Johnson used that big body to box him out.
6'3", 217 making the catch on that play. Play fake. Great pass and catch. UTEP. Touchdown, Minnesota. 59 yards.
Mark, you said it. That's a great pass to a big target. And Ben Utek, at 6'6", 240 pounds, and can run. And what spring that play for a touchdown was the block by Ron Johnson on Mike Eccles. We talk about it all the time, receivers blocking downfield.
The extra point is good by Dan Nystrom. And you got to think it was real important for the Golden Gophers to respond after that Wisconsin score. UTEP doing the honors from Assad Abdul-Khalik. UTEP? Yes, you can. We'll be right back.
It was the mountains and the snow and the water below. Are you ready? And you will know it's cold at last when the Coors Light hits your glass. Are you ready for a cold one? Are you ready for a cold Coors Light? Are you ready? Are you ready for a cold Coors Light? Are you ready for a cold one?
The all-new Kia Spectra. Drive one and at some moment, it'll hit you. The moment you realize you can actually afford a car available with air conditioning and power windows. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. We don't know where or when, but it will hit you.
Thank you! Thank you!
Introducing the 2002 Kia Spectra. Finally, a car you can really get into.
You've come to the right place. You can feel the spirit. And you know they're glad to see you. And it's good to get together and enjoy some awesome steak. So don't just go out. Go out backing. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Kia, makers of the new Spectra. Well-equipped, affordable, and backed by a 10-year warranty program.
Rod Johnson
and by Keystone Light. Always smooth, never bitter.
Ron Johnson with a key block on the prior play, giving Minnesota a tie game now with Wisconsin. We are knotted at 7 apiece. McDavis. Davis with a nice return out to the 36-yard line. Let's take one more look at that touchdown.
Take a look at it from your high end zone right here, and you'll see UTEP coming and working on Bose. Now that's 6'6" against 5'11". Bose gives up too much time, plus he's looking back at the quarterback. Man-to-man coverage, never look back. Right there, Ron Johnson with the key block on Eccles, which allowed the big man to get down the sidelines. Mark, he's got that gate opened up a little bit. He's covered about 10 yards per 2 steps.
The turbo kicked in. First down and 10. Bollinger. Lee Evans laying out, coming back to the ball nicely to make the catch. And it's close to a first down for the Badgers at the 45-yard line. Folks, college football continuing tonight on ESPN. It's Georgia against number 19, Georgia Tech. A state battle. George Godsey doing his thing at quarterback for the Ramblin' Wreck. It's tonight at 7:45 Eastern Time. It's the 86th meeting between these two teams.
Rod Johnson's predicted to be a top round draft pick in the NFL, wide receiver. He has the body, he has the hands, and the thing that he has right there is some tangibles. And one of the tangibles that Marv Levy always spoke about, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the Hall of Fame coach, every meeting was started out with receivers need to block downfield because it creates big plays and creates touchdowns.
One of the facets of the game that sometimes goes unnoticed, unless you got a replay machine in the telescreen. First down and 10. Bollinger hands it off to Davis, who's rocked at the line of scrimmage by Greg White. And Reese Davis can bring the wood too, right, Reese?
Head straight up, shoulders low, Mark, all the time. Missouri and Kansas State. L. Roberson on the option. Scobie-Dobie, Josh Scobie fumbles on a wet track there in Manhattan. Phil Pitts recovers. Both these teams needing to win out to become bowl eligible. This Wildcats can out.
Ball at the 45-yard line, second down and 10 for the Badgers. Bollinger for Evans. And he overthrew him downfield. He was working on Justin Isom.
Last catcher, Evans broke the single-season record for Big Ten receiving yards. Kind of emerged this year. Wasn't a secret last year to the Wisconsin staff and opponents, but when you have a guy like Chris Chambers who's starting for the Miami Dolphins right now, got overlooked a little bit. He's the main man now. What's he do? He just comes out and breaks the single-season record.
And Biletnikoff Award finalist. Now chasing David Boston. Actually passing and eclipsing Boston. Bollinger. Great catch. What a grab. Down at the 21-yard line. Evans comes right back to make the play.
That's a great throw and a great catch. And I'll tell you what, Lehan had great coverage. You'll see right here, he's saying, I'm challenging you, Lee Evans. Gets his hands on inside, jams him up a little bit. He's running stride for stride. Looking lean now. Oh, you didn't lean. It's a great one-handed catch. He not only gets 1 foot in, but 2 feet in. Right there, he's got to lean into him. If he would have leaned a little bit, he would have had him. That's a great catch and a great throw.
And even the quarterback, Bollinger, couldn't believe that his receiver made that kind of play. A 34-yard pickup. First down and 10 for the Badgers. Here's that counter they've been using. Davis accelerating down to the 5-yard line. Tackled by Brewer. And once again, Anelli, Chris, leading the way. Hey, I've picked this thing up too.
Yes, you have. And look, how you stop the counter? One or two things. You either got to bounce the ball all the way outside or make the ball cut all the way back. What Wisconsin's offensive line is doing is they're getting on the second level of the Minnesota defense, preventing them from running to the football, cutting off their pursuit angles, knocking people outside, which creates that big hole inside. And with Anthony Davis, that's like a shark to blood. Boom, done. See ya. Bye.
Davis already with 51 yards rushing. First and goal for the Badgers.
They keep coming to him.
Here they come again. Tried to cut it back inside that time. Brought down just inside the 5-yard line by Greg White, number 50, who's been busy up front for the Golden Gophers.
That time Jimmy Henry did a nice job of making that ball bounce back inside, and he had a good pursuit angle from the backside. Thus, they stopped the play. You got to choose your poison. Either you're going to make the ball bounce outside or make it cut all the way back. You can't give them that little gap in between the first puller and second puller, or they're going to have a huge hole.
Got to credit Wisconsin's offensive line up front, doing a great job with 2 freshmen up there. Second and goal. Bollinger's going to keep it. Touchdown.
When you have success running the football, and any type of play action is going to set up a bootleg with a quarterback like Bollinger, who can get outside the pocket. We talked about it. He can hurt you with his arm, which he did on that pass to Evans. Now he can hurt you with his feet, which he did there, running the bootleg, had the run-pass option. Phil Archer was the second contained man, the middle linebacker. Couldn't get there quick enough. Bollinger gets into the end zone.
Noiser in now for the extra point. So Wisconsin enters Minnesota's score with a score of its own. And one of the key plays in this drive was that circus grab by Lee Evans. Here's why he's a Biletnikoff Award finalist. Hands like glue. And then followed by the run by Bollinger. Wisconsin leads in the battle for the axe.
Experience the new expanded Treasure Island. Now with double the gaming space and the Midwest's largest non-smoking casino area. It's bigger, better, more tropical than ever.
Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
Treasure Island Resort and Casino may be more tropical than ever, but it's still just a short 40-minute drive from the Twin Cities. Check it out.
Gather round with the family there. Gonna eat my share. It's a fine day. With turkey on a plate.
Dodge is giving you something special to take home for the holidays. The security of 7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain protection on any new Dodge. Plus, we've extended 0% APR on select 2002s through the end of the year.
It's good to see you, Dad.
No thanks. It gives me gas.
With turkey on a plate. ESPN Sunday Night Football is where the action is. It's where the Raiders outpace the Colts.
And he unloads and it's picked off. Dorsett goes 39 yards for the touchdown.
Where the Saints and Jets fought to the bitter end.
And now Turley throws the helmet.
And where Sean Alexander tore up the turf.
Alexander in the middle of the field and he's gone.
Next, Anthony Thomas and the surprising Bears take on the rival Vikes. ESPN Sunday Night Football. Bears Vikings 8:30 Sunday on ESPN.
Lee Evans with a couple big plays on that last drive. A drive going 65 yards down the field and deep in the bowels of the Metrodome. The Axe stays inside the locker room until halftime. Right now it's in the Badgers locker room. Not time to lay down and die for the Golden Gophers, though.
Come on, boys, get up. You got a halftime show to go.
7 plays, 65 yards, big flips. About 2.5 minutes on the clock. Wisconsin leads 14-7. This is the 101st edition of this Marathon. Wow, Henderson falls down at the 12. The turf monster got to him.
Yeah, he got a little excited. Got the brain working before the feet.
Folks, college football continuing tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. The nation's leading rusher, William Green, takes Boston College to the Carrier Dome to take on Syracuse, and Dwight Freeney coming off the edge. That should be a good matchup. Wondering about Green's future next year, where he'll be. College of the Pros, and Freeney didn't get to the quarterback much last week against Miami. They shut him down a little bit. First down and 10 for Minnesota. 2 tight ends, 2 wideouts. Abdul Khalik looking for somewhere to go and put it on the ground. Wisconsin says they have it, but it's ruled Minnesota ball.
Ben Herbert did a nice job of holding his responsibility, staying outside, forcing in the big window of Bryant. Now, Abdul Khalik throws a nice little move, but the ball's out. And they gave it to Abdul. Stay in there.
He just kind of fell on it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good enough on that occasion. It's second down.
Good job of playing disciplined defense, holding your own, holding the outside.
Pass complete to Burns. Out to the 23-yard line, near the first down marker, brought down by Scott Starks, the freshman for Wisconsin. There he is, number 2. Had a good week last week against Michigan in that defeat. He had an interception and did a good job against Marquise Walker. He and Eccles on the corner.
He's a guy that's getting better and better. Had some freshman mistakes early in the season, but gotten better with reps, just like anything else. And I'll tell you, Abdul Khalik to me looks as sharp as he looked all year, Mark.
Sure does. First down and 10. Redmond. Another first down for the Gophers out to the 38. Burns with a big block up front and a 15-yard pickup by Minnesota.
Mark, I want to tell you something. Here's what pro scouts are going to look at if you're an offensive center in college. You're going to see this Burns pull. That's hard to do, to snap the ball and pull like that. And he comes to the lead blocker and gets hands on the linebacker just enough to slow him up so Redmond can get to the outside. That's a heck of a play from a center now. There's not too many guys that can do that in the NFL. Dermontti Dawson was the best.
First down and 10. Play fake. Was looking that time to Johnson.
Yeah, he was looking at Johnson the whole way. Eccles had him covered. Looked like Ron Johnson stopped his route. And I think Abdul Khalik was expecting to have him run a comeback. Fake the deep route and come back and throw the ball to the outside. This time, Eccles does a nice job. Look at that, run stride for stride. Now you'll see him slow down a little bit. Now he tries to come back, but he's got to come back to the football. You can't stop your route. Come back to the ball. Always come back to the ball. I'm sorry for clapping. I'm coaching. Leave me alone.
You're excused. You're excused, my man. That was Khalik's first incompletion of the game. He's 5 of 6. Hands it off to Redmond. Boy, Redmond put his hat down that time, pulling his way to the 45, tackled by number 45, Bryson on the play.
Again, Burns getting outside, pulling. Knocking number 32, Bryson Thompson out of the way, and Bryson does a good job from his middle linebacker spot. Makes a good, solid tackle. Boy, that was a draw. Bryson did a good job of getting him down in his tracks. Redmond did a good job of falling forward.
Sets up a third down and 4 for Minnesota. Johnson split wide to the bottom of your screen. Patterson inside of him, a 4-receiver set. Pass complete and a great tackle immediately by the freshman Scott Starks. Looks like Burns is just shy of the first down marker.
You're right, Mark. Great tackle. Why? Because it's tough to stop a receiver while he's running downfield. You're breaking down the ball. Why is this a great tackle? You see, first of all, any corners out there, you have to have a great break. That's a great fake. Where's that head? That head is in front of the runner. When that head's in front of the runner, you can knock a guy back. If the head's behind the runner, usually the guy falls forward.
He went to the same high school as Terrell and Jamar Fletcher. He wears the same number. 4th and 1. Gophers going for it. And Abdul Khalik got the first down near midfield.
Now, I like the call, and I like Khalik's decision to keep the football. And Minnesota's left side of their offensive line did a good job of denying penetration from a pretty good defensive line and defensive player in Wendell Bryant. You'll see right there, there's a good job of denying penetration, forcing Grayson to come over from his middle linebacker spot to make the play. That's a nice job, offensive line, for getting that one. Akinwale did a good job of denying penetration by that Wisconsin defensive line.
Look at the numbers respectively in first downs. Wisconsin with 9, Minnesota with 5. Glenn Mason rolling the dice, rolling a winner on 4th down.
You got Tellis Redmond in the slot going deep.
And there it is for Redmond. Incomplete and a flag on the play.
Mark, they worked on that play 5 times yesterday in practice.
Two safeties, Bose and Broussard, trying to communicate amongst themselves, and in the process interfering with the receiver, Redmond.
You're defensive coordinator on Wisconsin's sidelines, and you see your two safeties talking about something on the way back after a penalty or a long pass. You know you have problems. Somebody's got to get it deep as the deepest. And they worked on that play where they wanted to get Tellis Redmond out in the slot and get him matched up with the safety. He just ran a takeoff, and Abdul Khalik let it fly.
Redmond as a receiver. They've been moving him around a lot, and Glenn Mason wants to get Redmond, Barber, and even Thomas Tepe on the field at the same time if he can. There's a look at what kind of options open up offensively for Minnesota when that happens. Tepe now in the ball game. He's the single back on 1st and 10. Tepe gets his opportunity down to the 31-yard line. We are now under 1 minute to play in the first period.
They're having success by pulling Burns, just giving him the ball. He essentially becomes like a fullback and a lead blocker in a one-back set. Wisconsin's got to do a better job of working to the outside. When a center pulls, the whole gap's on the defensive line change, and as a defensive lineman and a linebacker, you know that ball's not cutting back with a pulling guard or pulling center in front of it. That's a designed outside play.
This is the 9th play of the drive for Minnesota. Tepe again between the tackles. Thomas Tepe down to the 27-yard line with 9 seconds to play in the first period. Tepe has undergone a lot of injuries during his career so far at Minnesota, but his feet are healthy right now, and he's playing well and contributing. Meanwhile, Barry Alvarez looking for his 7th consecutive victory against Minnesota. We'll be right back for the second period after this.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge, presented by 989 Sports, begins Tuesday, November 27th.
Somebody said Barry Sanders was so strong he could carry a 300-pound tackler on his back. Could he really do that? Well, he used to squat 600 pounds. So evidently he could carry 2.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors. Brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
Original Coors. Pick up a case or 2.
Job that makes you happy? Post your resume now. Monster.com.
You the monster.
In a world of uncertainty, there will always be a need for those proud few who can prove they are a world apart. Maybe you can be one of us. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Introducing the all-new Kia Spectra, an affordable car with so much more. Available with 6-speaker stereo, air conditioning, map lights, power windows, and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Are you still reading that?
Yeah, I can't put it down.
Oh. Wow. The 2002 Kia Spectra. Finally, a car you can really get into.
Want to try that triple Lux?
What the heck? I got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
A Lux?
No, that something insurance.
Even the best insurance doesn't give you cash for things like lost pay and other expenses. This does.
What does?
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
It is one of the most compelling rivalries in all of college football. Certainly the oldest, Paul Bunyan's axe. The game featuring Wisconsin and Minnesota. This, the 2001 edition. Right now it is 14-7. Wisconsin with the lead. This is the 10th play of the Minnesota drive. 3rd down and short. Abdul Khalik keeps it. It's going to be close. Just shy of the 25-yard line. Ben Herbert made the stop on the play.
I think he got the first down there. Herbert did a good job, and Gleek did a nice job of finding the first down yardage.
Let's take a look at our ESPN2 game track. Anthony Davis, a big factor in the first period, rushing the ball. Ben Utek with a 59-yard touchdown catch and run. Got a good block from Ron Johnson downfield in the process. And Lee Evans providing some highlight reel material already like that in the first period. 80 yards receiving. Pass complete on 1st and 10. Antoine Burns makes the catch. He was working on Starks on the play.
Yeah, that was a nice throw because why? Not only was it on target, but that ball was delivered before Burns came out of his cut. Burns ran a nice, sharp route. Didn't round off his cut it nice and sharp. Makes it tough for Starks to break on the football, but I like how the ball was delivered before the receiver was out of his cut.
Quarterback, Hassan Abdul-Khalik, delivered it. Second down and 3. Redmond. Nowhere to go that time. Brought down at the 18-yard line by number 32, Thompson.
Jason Schrick, the outside linebacker, did a good job of forcing that ball inside. Forcing Tellus Redmond to bounce it out. Bounce it back inside.
Redmond, the junior. His cousin, Brewer, also playing in the game. His last game in Minnesota on the sidelines right now, part of the defense. 3.7 yards per pop so far. 3rd down and 3. DePay, the fullback. Touchdown!
Just a simple dive play that's not supposed to go for that many yards. Only supposed to get 3 and get the first down, but DePay stayed patient, cut it all the way back. Wisconsin got a little antsy on the front side. DePay uses his speed from the fullback position, outruns the corner and the safety to get in the corner of the end zone.
18 yards to Pager, and we are knotted at 14 apiece. Early in the second period. Glenn Mason gets a little twinkle in his eye when he talks about number 44, Thomas DePay, and here's why. Got to put a big smile on your coach's face any day. We'll be right back after this.
Grandma's cooking for her boys tonight. There won't be a dry skillet left in the house. To say, no thanks, Grandma, I'm full, is not an option. What beverage can see a man through this trial by kindness? That's right. Good to know there's also a light way to live. The high life.
Big campsite sound. It's going down. Love. Learn about it. 1.
The Matrix Revisited. Buy it on video. The complete look at the world of The Matrix, including The Matrix anime, new perspectives, a look at The Matrix Reloaded, and special hidden features. The Matrix Revisited. Buy it on videocassette and DVD.
This weekend only, Zales has these $5.99 3/4 carat diamond stud earrings for just $3.99. Now through Sunday at Zales, the diamond store.
Could a mid-size sedan bring joy to your life? It can if it has a powerful V6, plenty of room for 5, and the freedom of America's best warranty plan. Introducing the new Hyundai Sonata. Life is better with one.
We are tied at 14 apiece here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is defensive coordinator for Wisconsin, Kevin Cosgrove. His voice intoning vehemently right now, trying to get his troops to dig in a little bit.
He's going down position by position. Said, boys, look, we've been inconsistent. We played the game of our life last week. Bring that same intensity. And that's one thing they were worried about. They played so well defensively against Michigan last week. They won the guard against a letdown against Minnesota. And right now, Mark, they're having one.
Ryan Duffy, Chris, kicking off, and this one goes to Davis, 10 yards deep. Let's go to Reese in the studio.
Mark, it's been raining so hard in Bloomington, they've commissioned a man to gather 2 of every kind of football player, but there is only one, Antoine Randall L. Going in for the Hoosiers in Indiana on top of Purdue, 13-0 in the bucket game. Backyard brawl, scoreless, Pittsburgh and West Virginia. Oh, Walt Harris with some trickeration from a left-handed tailback. Marcus Furman finding Chris Wilson, and the Panthers on top, 7-0.
You know, you watch Randall L. play. Hard to think of a more exciting player in the country right now. Davis brought down short of the line of scrimmage that time by Bradley Vance.
That time they did a nice job of stringing it out and let Bradley Vance shoot the gap and make a play and a good solid tackle.
There's one thing about the Big Ten. I think they lead the nation in trophy games. Look at the ones this week. Sweet Sue Tomahawk, the Axe, Old Oaken Bucket, Land Grant Trophy, and Cy Hawk.
That's the lure of college football, man, where these trophies and symbols mean things.
Did he win most of your trophy games at Ohio State?
Yeah, I guess.
Bollinger up top for Evans. And it's incomplete. Good cover on the corner that time by Justin Isom.
Yeah, Justin Isom did a nice job of cutting him off at the high point of the route. Got his body in front of Lee Evans.
Holly, what's up? Holly Rowe?
As you can imagine, the Wisconsin defense is reeling on the sidelines right now. Remember, they held Michigan last week to 163 yards, their lowest total offense of the season. But right now, they are discombobulated. In fact, their senior, Bryson Thompson, their linebacker, had to settle everybody down. He's the senior leader, and he said, let's get this thing straight.
All right, Holly, Minnesota blitzing, and it's incomplete, intended for an Elliott. It's 3 and out. For Minnesota defense, they come up with a statement here. Justin Fraley in on the pressure on the quarterback, Bollinger.
They played man-to-man. They don't like to play man-to-man much, but we'll see here is a blitz by the safety coming inside. Right there, does a good job avoiding a blocker. He keeps coming after him and gets a hit on Brooks Bollinger. Maybe forced him to overthrow Anelli a little bit on the crossing route. Mark, who was open?
He sure was. He's a big target, too. R.J. Morris into punt, standing at his own 6-yard line, averaging a little over 40. First punt. The punting game cost Wisconsin last week. Big time. Not here, though. Redmond lunging forward to the 42. A 49-yard punt, 7 yards on the return. The Minnesota Golden Gophers looking for their first win in 7 tries against the Badgers when we come back.
Sedan bring joy to your life? It can if it has a powerful V6, plenty of room for 5, and the freedom of America's best warranty plan. Introducing the new Hyundai Sonata. Life is better with one.
Who's got the closest shave? He does, even on the tough spots. The new Remington TCT, the only shaver that first trims the hard-to-get hairs, then follows with 3 flexing foils to cut even closer. The new Remington TCT, total closeness or your money back.
I'm going to make a collect call.
Careful how you dial, boys.
Ava, we always use 1-800-COLLECT.
Then you already know it saves at least $1 or $2.
Of course. It's so easy.
1-800-COLLECT. Save $1 or $2.
Oh, yeah, going along, feeling fine when it hits you. Diarrhea. Alone, it's bad. But with gas and cramps, too, you've got big trouble. But now there's new Imodium Advanced Caplets, the only one that combines 2 medicines to stop diarrhea, cramps, and gas all at once. In no time, you'll feel A-OK again. New Imodium Advanced Caplets. Whew, what a relief.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Miller High Life and by Lugs, the boots and shoes with an attitude. Check it out at lugs.com.
Well, an estimated 10,000 Wisconsin fans joining these Minnesota fans here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Glenn Mason garnering a new generation of fans here under the bubble. Redmond stopped up by Bryson that time. About 3 yards on first down.
Minnesota came out with a 4 wide receiver set, marking a lot of times. That's an indicator, especially on first down, to spread the defense out. You try to hit it up inside like that. They got 5 yards. Grayson made a nice tackle, but it's 5 yards down the field. That's a win for Minnesota.
Look at Minnesota. Their players, no doubt, ready to play today. Glenn Mason is one thing, if not one thing. He's honest and heartfelt with his players and his team. He got them ready to play today. 2nd down and 5. Tepe is stopped up and bent backwards in the line of scrimmage. Reese, what's happening in the Battle of Iowa?
The battle for the Cyhawks, Mark, and it's Seneca Wallace, Kansas City Star, named him the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, firing a touchdown pass to Lane Danielson, and the Cyclones on top in Jack Trice Stadium by a touchdown.
3rd down and 7 for Minnesota.
That's 3 nice plays. Hawthorne, the big freshman inside, is made from his defensive tackle position or his 3 technique position.
Quick 3-step drop. Kalik with the 1st down catch to Burns. Antoine Burns making the grab at the 42-yard line, working on Eccles that time.
Recognition by Assad Kalik, seeing the zone blitz, understanding that if it's a zone blitz, it's a 3 deep. The corner will be playing off, which gives you time to hit the slant by Burns. That's good recognition. Why do I know it's zone blitz? Because you see number 94 Hawthorne there late in your screen. Came out of his defensive tackle position, dropped to the middle of the field for pass, but Assad recognized where the opening would be and hit it.
Chris, let's talk about the quarterback in a minute here. Abdul Kalik, this is as sharp as we have seen him all season. Looking downfield for UTEP. Touchdown! Abdul Kalik delivering another strike.
That's execution, Mark. When you have a big tight end that can run, matched up on that 6'6", matched up on the 5'11" safety, you're going to win that battle.
Nystrom with the extra point. UTEP with his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. And number 8 is firing on all cylinders right now. The Golden Gophers with the lead when we come back.
Sophisticated new laser technology at the Day Spa in Edina makes the removal of unwanted hair easy, safe, and completely painless. Our new high-tech laser emits a beam of light that is transferred through the skin to the hair follicle. This safe, gentle procedure removes the unwanted hair without damaging the delicate pores and surrounding skin. Day Spa's gentle laser treatment is very affordable and makes a dramatic difference in your appearance. Call the Day Spa in Edina for a consultation today.
Tailgate is now open. In Minnesota, tailgating used to mean sitting in a snowbank, freezing, and trying to light the grill. Now, it means you and your friends having a good time and filling up on great food and washing it down with your favorite brew. So get in here and start having fun. You'll find Tailgate next to Cynthia's Mexican Restaurant, just north of the Crosstown on Nicollet Avenue in South Minneapolis.
College football Saturday at 3:30. Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions have turned their season around. Now they're fighting for a bowl game as they look to stop T.J. Duckett and Michigan State. At 7:45, a great rivalry between 2 top 25 teams. Top dog David Green and Georgia battle George Godsey and Georgia Tech. Touchdown! Penn State, Michigan State at 3:30. Georgia, Georgia Tech at 7:45. Today on ESPN.
And UTEP with another touchdown catch just moments ago. Let's take one more look at how he got downfield, Chris.
First of all, you're going to see Big Ike and Wally right here pull around. And right away, you got everybody running because both backs are going that way. And watch him come back here. Kalik knows he's over there, gets a nice cut block on Herbert, buys Kalik time, who throws across his body to the big target, UTEP, who has the speed to get down the field. Now, Bose didn't have bad coverage, but it's the size difference, Mark. He's too big for Bose to get around. He's 6'6", 260 pounds to 5'11", 180. He just uses his body and boxes him out. It's a great pass by Kalik.
That Gophers kick 3 yards deep. Davis going to take it out. Nick Davis, a dangerous kickoff return man, out to the 35-yard line. He has 2 for touchdowns in his career. Lehan making the stop, and there's a flag down on the play back at the 20. That's against Wisconsin. You have to be solid in the kicking game, and that's something that has been the bane of Barry Alvarez's team most recently, and against Michigan, it cost them to win.
Yeah, penalties on kickoff.
By the receivers. 10-yard penalty in spite of the foul. First down.
Return or field position buster. One of the things that Minnesota does is it plays quite a bit of starters, all linebackers, starting linebackers on Minnesota's defense is on the kickoff team. And what that does is they're a little tired now. I'd go right at them. I would recognize that if I'm a Wisconsin coach, and I'm going to try to attack the Minnesota linebackers through the air or right at them on the ground with an ISO play up the middle. See if they got their breath.
Davis was a factor early running the ball, but Bollinger decides to pass here. Overthrowing his intended receiver, Nick Davis. And let's go to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, backyard brawl again, Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Panthers already up by a touchdown, 7-0. David Priestley to the reigning Biletnikoff Award winner, Antonio Bryant. Nice catch along the sideline to set up a field goal. And Pittsburgh has a 10-0 lead. They're almost halfway through the second quarter.
Bryant's season derailed early in terms of repeating for that award, but certainly still a very talented receiver. My part of town, down in Miami, 2nd down and 10. There's Davis, nowhere to go, brought down shy of 15. And the 14-yard line, you sense the momentum has definitely swung in Minnesota's favor, Chris.
I do, and I also sense that Greg White understands this is his last game as Golden Gopher, and he's going to play it. And that time, he took the big offensive guard for Wisconsin, and Klingscale drove him back. Not only defeated the blocker, did his job, but made the tackle on a very shifty Anthony Davis.
And once again, Wisconsin's offense, like their last drive, facing a 3rd and long. Bollinger hit Davis, and he got the first down, and it appeared that Davis wasn't expecting the ball when it got to him.
No, I think they were on a different page, but it was a great job by Nick Davis of adjusting his route. Brooks Bollinger's reading blitz right there. He's calling out the audible, and you'll see him right here. He's reading blitz. He knows you see Nick Davis working. He's going to run the slant, and the ball was thrown to his outside hip pocket. Seeing the corner playing off in man-to-man coverage, not want to give up the deep ball. Wasn't expecting that ball either. Nick Davis did a good job of catching that ball behind him. It was a nice throw, too. Nice job.
Rich Bollinger, the son of a coach out of North Dakota, 7 of 12 today. Here's Davis, chopped down to the 33-yard line by number 20, Justin Isom. Let's go to Reese.
Mark, we told you Kansas State needs to win to become bowl eligible, taking on Missouri. Here's the Big 12's 3rd leading rusher, Scobie New. Josh Scobie going in from the 14, and the Wildcats on top, 7-0.
Back here, 2nd down and 6 to go. Davis today, 9 rushes, 51 yards. His last 4 have gone for just 6. 2nd down and 6 to go. Davis met in the hole that time by Bill Archer. Let's go downstairs to Holly.
Mark, I know players hate to make excuses, but right now you cannot believe the walking wounded for Minnesota. Mike Lehan, number 39, is having severe back cramping. He's coming over to the sideline in between series and taking some pills to help him stop cramping. He can barely line up right now. Also, 31 Phil Archer took a late hit, a hard hit after a special teams play. He didn't know which way to walk on the field for at least 30 seconds until he got his head cleared. They are so exhausted right now, but somehow the Gophers are finding a way to get out there and try to stop this Wisconsin offense.
Well, it's a testament to Coach Mason that his team hasn't given up on the season yet. Davis, big hole. Anthony Davis. Was he over? Yes, he was. Touchdown.
You better learn his lesson, though. You better take it across the end zone. I don't care if you're a state 250-meter champion. When you got a guy like Lehan chasing you, you better score.
There's number 39, Mike Lehan, who is despondent over the fact that he thinks he knocked it away. And you hear the boos from the fans as the replay is shown on the scoreboard. Is hotter than July right now. But Wisconsin has tied the game up where it counts on the scoreboard.
Well, let's take a look if he has a reason to be hot. Right there, he's on the 2. That ball is out.
This isn't the first time this year that Minnesota has been involved in a controversy when it comes to close calls like this. We know back to the Purdue game, one more look.
You know, that's a great job by Lehan. That's a shame that, I don't, you know, guys are going to miss calls. Things happen fast. I understand that. But that's a shame that a play like that, effort like that, does not get rewarded when it's the right thing to do. Mace, you're right. Give it to him.
Mike Lehan using that 4.39 speed to run down Anthony Davis from behind, not giving up on the play.
Anthony Davis has got to, this is a young player, and he'll never make this mistake again, knowing Barry Alvarez and his coaching staff. That ball is out, by the way, at the 1-yard line. That's a great effort by Lehan. It's an awesome effort. It's something that you preach to kids and how to play and go out all the time. And Anthony Davis has learned a valuable lesson, Mark. He's a freshman. He's never been caught from behind in his life. Well, guess what? This isn't the New Jersey City League. This is Big Ten football, and guys can run. Now, you have an opportunity to finish a play, young man. You finish, and you run through the end zone. You're a great player with great speed. Use it all the time, 100% of the time.
It has been the type of season where the breaks have gone against Minnesota and Clint Mason. Talked earlier, just a few moments ago, about the Purdue game, the game they lost in overtime. And an apparent touchdown catch was taken away from them. And now this. Wojciechowski out to the 25. One more look.
All right, this is, you'll see it real time here. You see what I'm talking about right here. He's gone. He knows I'm the state champion. Nobody can catch me. And he slows up and starts that high stepping stuff. You don't need to do that. Score when you have a chance to score. All the way. Barry Sanders took the ball, ran the ball in the end zone no matter where he was. Practice games, it didn't matter. And Anthony Davis, that's just a lesson. You got humbled right there. You're a great player. Understand that when you play, you put on a Wisconsin uniform, you run the distance every time you get your hands on the ball.
Here's Assad Abdul-Khalik with a first down out to the 40. Reese Davis, whew, it's getting hot here.
I don't blame you, Mark. This is Pitt in West Virginia. Rasheed Marshall, the kid from Pittsburgh, for the Mountaineers, scoring 44 yards for the touchdown to get West Virginia back in the game at 10-7. And we just want Chris to know the congregation here is with one accord.
Amen, brother.
I'm all right, Reese.
My man popping his collar on the first down and 10. Abdul-Khalik for Johnson. Incomplete at the 10. Mike Eccles came back to break it up.
Abdul-Khalik took a shot there. And that's, you know what? That's what I'm talking about not quitting on the play. Ron Johnson has this ball in his hands. And look at Eccles. Keep fighting. That's it. Wing your arms around there, and he strips the ball. He doesn't quit on the play. It's a good job. Great coverage. Look and lean. Keep fighting. Start scrapping those hands, pulling arms. That's what a veteran corner can do. Right there, he had his left arm under hook. That's a good job of coverage, by the way. That's a way to get away with that.
Down and 10 for Minnesota. Aaron Barber the third. Right down to the 41-yard line. It'll be third down and long. Let's go downstairs to Holly.
Chris, I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but when Anthony Davis came over to the sidelines, all of his teammates, their quarterback Brooks Bollinger was signaling a touchdown sign, mocking the crowd. But Anthony Davis came over, and he was inconsolable on the sidelines. He would not accept the congratulations of his teammates. He kept looking at the replay board. He was as upset with himself as you are.
Well, I'm upset at his action. He's a good young man and a great running back. I just say, look, don't take anything for granted. He's young. He's a freshman. He learned an invaluable lesson on that play.
Abdul-Khalik for Johnson again. Incomplete, just out of his outstretched arms. By mere inches.
I'll tell you, they're going corners in the Big Ten, and I love it. Here's your best, Ron Johnson. Here's your best, Eccles. Let's line up and find out who's better. That ball's being delivered. That's great coverage and great effort by Ron Johnson, and this is how you play football. These are seniors, Mark, playing for an axe on two teams that have losing records. They're playing for the axe.
Davis calls for the Bearcats at the 24-yard line. Breaks just haven't gone Glenn Mason's way this year when the case has been close. We'll be back after this.
Hey, Hallie Eisenberg, drinking a Pepsi.
Actually, this isn't a Pepsi. It's new Pepsi Twist with lemon. And I'm not Hallie Eisenberg.
I'm Hallie Berry. Drinking Pepsi Twist.
Well, it's not exactly Pepsi Twist. It's Diet Pepsi Twist. And I'm not exactly Hallie Berry.
You know.
I'm Barry Bostwick.
Who is Barry Bostwick?
Like twists? Try new Pepsi Twist in regular and diet. A lemon twist on that great Pepsi taste.
Now anyone can be a digital DJ. With the Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world.
Could a mid-size sedan bring joy to your life? It can if it has a powerful V6, plenty of room for 5, and the freedom of America's best warranty plan. Introducing the new Hyundai Sonata. Life is better with one.
Back in Minneapolis at the Metrodome, we are tied on the scoreboard at 21, 6:18 to play in the first half. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman and Holly Rowe on the sidelines. Anthony Davis, after that last touchdown run, has now set an NCAA freshman record with 10 games of 100 yards or more rushing. Here he is again, knocked out of bounds in the 27 by Archer. Anthony Davis knows that he may have gotten away with one, getting the benefit of the call from the officials on that last touchdown run.
Yeah, you see what he's done. I mean, 10 games, over 100 yards for a freshman's outstanding. And it makes me feel good when Hawley reported that he felt bad and he learned a valuable lesson. And that'll never happen to him again. I promise you that. Any kid that can recognize the mistake he made that quick, good for him.
Bollinger incomplete for Evans. Folks, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Chris Berman and his crew, as they get ready for all the day's NFL action on NFL Countdown, reports from all the games with up-to-the-minute news, notes, analysis, and paralysis. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock Pacific Time and 8 a.m. Eastern on NFL Countdown. 3rd down and 7.
Big 3rd down for both teams, Mark, because there's different momentum twists throughout this whole game. It keeps going to Wisconsin, then to Minnesota. Wisconsin, Minnesota. 3rd down is where you win football games.
As Wisconsin steps back and calls a timeout. First of the half. We'll be back.
On September 11th, 2001, terrorists struck our nation. All Americans were affected. As we move beyond the shock, the sorrow, and the anger, we must resolve to embrace a new period of normalcy. A period not defined by fear, but by patience, alertness, and unity of spirit. For generations, Big Ten faculty, students, and alumni have successfully met intellectual, moral, and physical challenges. We will work, study, and stand together as part of a worldwide effort to eliminate international terrorism directed at citizens of any country. We're confident that strength and unity will ultimately defeat terror and fear.
Minnesota fans right now with an axe to grind. Pun intended Definitely third down for Wisconsin, 3rd and 7. Almost picked off by Lehan on the play intended for Nick Davis.
He's got some. He's playing with back spasms. He should play with back spasms every week. That was a well-thrown ball. Nick Davis did a good job of coming underneath the receiver, but Lehan threw his left hand back there to disrupt the route. I tell you, Mark, this is why I love college football. These teams aren't going to any bowls, but they're playing hard. And that's their draw.
These two teams and schools, institutions, programs separated by just 240 miles of highway down I-94. Flag down. Redmond. He whistled right where he caught it, I think.
I think he forgot he made the fair catch.
The halo rule violated on that one by Wisconsin. Brother Reese, you got a sermon for me in the studio?
All right, guys, let's check in on the big house. Ohio State and Michigan underway. Jim Tressel's first game, and John Navarre's really been struggling. Puts that a little bit too high for Dayton DeBook, and Mike Doss has it going the other way. Inside the 10, Ohio State wound up with the ball, and Jonathan Wells would cash in on the turnover, and the Buckeyes are up 7-0.
I'm looking for that 8x10 glossy of Woody Hayes under my partner's seat somewhere. I know it's in the booth somewhere. First down and 10 for Minnesota. Little reverse. Redmond, he's gone. Tellis Redmond. Get a block. Down to the 1-yard line. Brought down by Starks.
You talk about Redmond and Capay and Barber being in the backfield at the same time. That time, Redmond lined up in the slot, comes with a quick counter. Herbert had good contain, but not enough speed. Redmond just outruns him. You'll see right there. That's Redmond. He's coming from a slot position. There's Herbert. He knew the play was coming. He just didn't have enough speed. And Scott Starks comes from the backside corner and does a great job of taking an angle. Cutting him off. There's Redmond. Capay in the backfield. Fake toss. Redmond on the counter. And he's gone. You see Starks is a good enough football player to take the angle and cut him off.
Whistle blows first. Barber goes into the end zone, but this one was whistled dead before they got it off.
Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Now that's frustrating. Now instead of going for 2, you're in 7. It's tough to throw the ball down in this type of area because you have the end zone as the 12th man as your defense. Doesn't give you enough time to work the routes. Easier to cover down there.
Wisconsin substituting personnel. Redmond on the sidelines, backs out of the eye. It's Capay and Marion Barber Jr. Incomplete, intended for UTEP.
Yeah, he predetermined where he was going to throw that football. Why do I say that? Because he never looked at the flat receiver. Capay was wide open in the flat. Look at his eyes, right to UTEP. UTEP's not even in his break yet. He predetermined that UTEP fell down. I'm saying he had an option in the flat. He didn't hit it. He was going to UTEP right away. A little bit of a young mistake right there. Tried to force that a little quick.
One of the few mistakes he's made today. 2nd and goal. Marion Barber the 3rd. Touchdown.
Who wants it more? Do I want to score or do you want to stop me? Well, Marion Barber won the score. And there's another freshman, Mark.
Marion Barber III, who is only playing running back by virtue of the fact that he tried to persuade his coaches early in the season during spring training and training camp to go from defense to offense, and it's been a great move, a masterstroke of strategy by Glenn Mason and his coaching staff. His 7th touchdown this season.
You see right here another freshman running back, and to see Anthony Davis, a freshman on Wisconsin, and Marion Barber III, a freshman from Minnesota. Watch his vision right here. He's going to make a nice little cut right there, and you'll see somebody's going to get Rosé gets a face full of 21. He hit him at about the 2. Does a good job of chesting up, but you got to drive him back. Marion Barber says, I want 6. I want 6. My feet never stop. My feet never stop.
What a collision. What a collision.
And he runs with a lot of power, Mark. He's not overly big in size. But I'll tell you what, he is a powerful guy. His feet never stop. And that goes for if you're running the football, blocking, or tackling. Oftentimes we see anytime there's contact, people's feet stop. So not with Marion Barber. When he makes a hit, his feet keep going. He's only 195 pounds, but he runs like he's 230.
His dad, Marion Barber Jr., is the 4th leading rusher in Minnesota school history. Ryan Duffy set to kick off. Who would have ever thought that this game would be such a high-scoring affair? Davis at the 8. Tackled at the 27. Let's go downstairs to Holly.
Guys, listening to the congratulations along the sideline here from Marion Barber, his teammates were the most impressed on how many defenders he took with him into the end zone. They loved how his leg drive carried him through those guys. They said that he was as tough as they come for a young player.
Glenn Mason, Holly, also saying that this guy is football mature well beyond his years.
Good genes.
No doubt. Wisconsin with the ball, first down and 10. Here's the counter play to Davis. Good run support on the corner by Isom coming up. Folks, tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday Night Football presents it's an old black and blue division match. Chicago Bears and Dante Culper heading the offense for the Minnesota Vikings. It all starts with NFL Prime Time at 7:30 Eastern, presented by Miller Lite. And the kickoff is at 8:30 Eastern Time.
Vikings are a different team in the dome than they are on the road. They can put points up in a hurry.
Sure are. Second down and 7 for Wisconsin. Bollinger slips at the 34. It'll be third down and about 4 yards to go for Wisconsin, but there's a flag down on the play. And it's against the Badgers.
67.
I watched Brooks Bollinger in warm-ups. Had a little trouble keeping his foot. He was doing a drill where he just dropping back and he slipped.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty for previous spot. Keep second down.
Barry Alvarez, meanwhile, with more than just this trophy game on his mind. His wife, Cindy, saying that his daughter is about to have a baby. Yeah. She's in labor as we speak.
You got to give up. Go, Stacy, go.
Go, Stacy.
Go, Stacy. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I wonder if Coach has a cell phone or a beeper on to see if a big moment happens anytime soon.
He wants to know the size. If it's a boy, the size. What position is he going to play?
Let's go downstairs to Holly.
Guys, I'm actually right now as we speak carrying my cell phone with me throughout the game. As soon as they know, Cindy's going to call down here and let me know, and I'll try to run over and tell Barry.
Hope he finds out as soon as it happens. Let's go back to Reese in the studio.
Mark, I thought maybe that many people thought they just were dreaming, that Colorado could actually just line up and run over Nebraska. Chris Brown, listen how early Brett Musburger called touchdown on that run. 62-36, over 300 yards rushing. Colorado going to the Big 12 Championship. We'll talk about it at BCS at halftime.
All right, Reese, and of course that has a major effect on the BCS standings, the ones that will come out on Monday. Nebraska certainly will fall. Miami and Oklahoma now poised, as is maybe Florida.
You know what? Football is such a humbling game, and Nebraska takes such pride in their defense, the black shirts. And how disappointing is it? And I'm just speaking as a linebacker and a defender. If somebody goes for 8 touchdowns and 62 points through the ground,
right?
And that's on the defense. And Crouch did his job. He hung in there, pulled him in there. But man, did they get physically manhandled?
Yeah,
there's no other way to call it.
Coach Barnett, his theme for the Colorado Buffaloes all year has been RTG. Those 3 letters printed on all their shirts and around the stadium. RTG standing for Return to Greatness, and that was certainly a great win for the program yesterday. Second down and 17 to go. Incomplete, intended for Davis in the 31. It'll be 3rd and long.
Hey, Brooks threw this ball a little bit behind him. It was pretty decent coverage. Now, he's got to deliver this ball on the outside, not the inside. One of two things can happen. If the coverage is a little bit tighter, that can go 6 points the other way. When you throw an outcut, you have to need to throw it low and outside. That way, your guy is the only guy that can get it. That way, he can turn up and go on a run up the sideline as opposed to adjusting his body back into the coverage.
Chris Bollinger is one of his last 8 passing. They hand it off to Davis, who's got some space. Davis got the first down. What a call by the Badger offense. And let's go to Reese.
All right, back to the backyard brawl. Check out Antonio Bryant. He doesn't need both shoes. One of them's going to come off, and yeah, there it goes. He blew a shoe, and Bryant still looking in the pass from David Priestley. And, you know, I guess if you just have one shoe on, they don't mind if you get inbounds or out of bounds. They called it a touchdown. Looks like his toes were on the line. Doesn't matter. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
I think his sock got a little ahead of his toes.
Yeah, he only had one pair of socks on, so he got a little napkin. Here's Davis again out to the 43-yard line. I was talking about Barry Alvarez and his daughter, Stacy, about to deliver a baby. And, you know, it's not like this is the first time something important has happened on this day against Minnesota. It was just a few years ago when he actually watched the game from a hospital bed in Rochester, Minnesota after knee surgery. And there were some people that thought that his coaching staff and Alvarez in the hospital had an unfair advantage. Right. He said, hey, there was no advantage. It wasn't the biggest room. The bed hardly fit. So if they want to even things out, he called up Mason and said, come on down here with something to drink and it'll be all even. Downfield for Evans, incomplete. But there's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he said, come on down, Mace. Watch it with me. Sit down and have a couple Diet Pepsis together. Let's talk about football.
It's not like he was calling the game from his hospital bed. Alvarez said that he watched this 99 game from a black and white 12-inch TV. It was 17-all going into overtime, and then some big plays ensued. Jamar Fletcher with a pick of the pass, and then Vitaly Pasetsky with a 31-yard field goal for the win. And Wisconsin took home the axe and chopped down the goalpost. 20-17, the final in overtime. They retained the axe that day for the 5th consecutive time.
They got pretty good technique with that axe. They've had it long enough, yeah.
Barry Alvarez has led Wisconsin to 3 Big Ten titles and 3 Rose Bowl triumphs.
He's done a great job.
He sure has. And amazingly, he has the longest tenure among Big Ten coaches. This is his 12th season at Wisconsin.
He's got great support from the athletic department, the president.
Let's check in with Reese in the studio. Reese?
All right, Mark, coming up at halftime, we'll check in on all the Big Ten battles going on. Of course, they're battling for the Open Bucket. Ohio State and Michigan also underway. We'll also check in on the backyard brawl. Mark May is watching that very intently. He played in a few of those during his time. And we'll also try to sort out all of the shakeup from the BCS and Colorado's win over Nebraska yesterday. And who has the edge? Would it be Florida or Oklahoma if Miami can go the rest of the way without losing? We'll discuss all of that when we see you at halftime.
All right, thanks a lot, Reese. And Miami, of course, with a big matchup today down in Coral Gables against Washington, a game that was supposed to be played earlier in the season. Of course, Washington, if you remember, spoiled Miami's national title dreams a year ago when they defeated the Hurricanes in Seattle.
2 things Larry Coker said his team's been pointing to that game all year. Another thing, Mark, on that BCS, a team that I would not want to play.
Who's that?
Florida. I think Grossman is the Heisman Trophy winner. We did a game in Florida this year. There's no better quarterback in the country in my eyes. I think he's that good with those weapons.
Can't argue with his numbers, that's for sure. Wisconsin facing 3rd down. They're 5 of 7 on 3rd down situations, and Jimmy Henry says it's time to bring the noise.
See if Minnesota blitzes. They got burned last time they blitzed.
Bollinger for Evans. Incomplete. No flags on the play.
I'll tell you, a guy who's stepping his game up today is Eisen. He's got a heck of a challenge guarding Lee Evans, and he's played on the outside of Lee Evans that time. Why? Because he knew he can count on his captain and his senior, Jack Brewer, for help on the inside. That's good team pass coverage by the Golden Gopher defense.
R.J. Morse into punt. This is third punt of the afternoon. Tellis Redmond standing on his own 17-yard line for Minnesota. 2:23 to play in the first half. They protect the punter well enough. Flag down on the play. Redmond brought down at the 25. A 12-yard return on the 45-yard punt.
Darrell Reed got a little antsy, trying to get a block.
Folks, today's telecast of Wisconsin against Minnesota is being seen live around the world by U.S. servicemen and women and their families through the facilities of the American Forces Radio and Television Service. And this is certainly a time where we celebrate Thanksgiving, going ahead into the Christmas season. We give thanks to those people giving loyal service to our country, protecting our interests both domestically and internationally.
You're absolutely right, Mark. And one of the things they say that the terrorists will die for a cause. We've been dying for a cause. Our soldiers have been dying for a cause for 200 years.
First down and 10. Redmond again, right up the gut. Tellis Redmond has gone over 1,000 yards rushing for the second consecutive season. Last year, he rushed for 1,368 yards, and that's the first time that that's been done. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons since 86-87, when a guy close to us here, Darrell Thompson, did it.
Yeah, Darrell Thompson is a guy that I played against, and a very good back, tough guy, man. I love to play against those tough backs.
Second down and 2 for the Gophers. Redmond again, this time stopped up at the 32-yard line. Nick Bryson has made some plays today, Chris.
He's made a lot of plays, and I'll tell you, he runs sideline to sideline, and that time they're doing the same thing. Bryson sniffed it out a little bit quicker because he's reading the center. He sees the center pull Burns. He understands that ball is going outside, and he'll make the play. He's around the ball a lot. I tell you, for 149 tackles going into this game, he's about ready to go over 160 if he keeps rolling like he is.
His brother Chris plays for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, he has 8 of them already this half.
3rd and 3. Redmond neck collared by number 45 again, Bryson.
Yeah, he ran right through the stiff arm of Redmond. Redmond's a little tired.
Bryson
ran right through that stiff arm and yanked him down. That's a good, solid open field tackle.
It looks like Redmond has run out of gas just a little bit here towards the end of the first half.
And you got a young back with Barber out there. Maybe you should have gave Redmond a break. He was a little winded after that punt return.
10 rushes for a total of 94 yards so far today for number 32. Minnesota with a couple of timeouts left. Wisconsin burns its final timeout. As we mentioned, back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons for Redmond out of Grapevine, Texas.
Well, that's a credit to that offensive line of Minnesota.
Let's check in with Holly.
Guys, right now, just before the half, with Minnesota leading by 1 touchdown, they could be up a little bit more if it were not for that controversial call as Anthony Davis was crossing the end zone. I talked to one of the alternate Big Ten officials here at the game. He said the officials are not allowed at all to look up at the big screen, so they cannot see conclusively from television replay that it was not a touchdown like we can. He said that it didn't look good from where he stood, but he says his compatriots on the field cannot look up and use those big screens here in the Metrodome at all.
Allowed to. They should be able to look up.
Great reporting, Holly. And you know, if by chance the Big Ten Conference would issue an apology or say at least my bad to Minnesota after the game, it wouldn't be the first time. Remember earlier this year against Purdue, there was a touchdown catch, an apparent catch by Tony Henderson that was taken away from Minnesota. Preston Grunig into punt, his 3rd of the afternoon.
Check Minnesota's punt protection. Here they come.
It's off a high spiral. Davis lets it bounce out of bounds at the 35-yard line. And for those of you who have just joined us, after that 33-yard punt. Here's a look at that touchdown run by Davis that was called a touchdown, where it appeared that the ball was knocked loose right there before he stepped into the end zone.
Well, we looked at it from a number of different angles, and that ball was knocked loose when his right foot hit the 1-yard line. The ball was not across the end zone. It's a different, in the defensive officials, those guys are running about a 4.340, both of them, so it's tough to see, but that's a call that makes or breaks the season or a team or a game.
Wisconsin going to try and get at least a field goal out of the final 42 seconds. Bollinger to pass. And it's complete to Evans, work in the middle of the field, down to the 37-yard line. They are out of timeouts. Vance made the stop.
It's a good job of Bricks Bollinger stepping up into the pocket and finding the open receiver in the middle defense. The linebacker's got to get some depth and understand where the receivers are behind them. Not in front. It doesn't matter now. Get back.
7-yard pickup. Bollinger, flag down. Bollinger out of bounds at the 29-yard line. This might be a hold on Johnson.
Yeah, Big Ben Johnson is trying to contain Greg White, who's been bringing it off the corner. It's tough duty. Ben's been doing a good job at run blocking. Hate to have to just signal him out on a holding call, but Greg White's a guy that can come off the corner with speed and power, Mark, which makes him double trouble.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty for previous spot. Go first down.
Sure does move him back a little bit, if nothing else. There's a look at Marcus Neuser, who last week missed that field goal against Michigan from about 31 yards out. That would have given them a late lead.
Take a look at as long as 46 yards, so if you want to go by that, that means he needs to get down. The offense needs to get the ball to about the 29-yard line for his distance.
Okay, coming up at halftime, the Saturn halftime report. Reese in the studio with scores and highlights. Nelly, the tight end, making it back to the 39.
Nelly needs to work that ball out of bounds. He's made a mistake in trying to get to the outside and down the ball.
Bollinger spikes it and stops it with 3 seconds to go on the clock. And boy, you know, the clock has really been an issue this year, Chris, a couple times. We saw one game here against Purdue where Purdue barely got the kickoff. And then, of course, Michigan State, Michigan. That game, there was some debate as to whether time should have run out on Michigan State. The game was at East Lansing.
Yep. And you know, I think with a lot of these close calls that are happening in the Big Ten this year, they really got to have a conference or something at the end of the year to get together and kind of regroup as a team. The officials are a team just like anybody else.
3rd and 10. And the Hail Mary goes into the end zone. Incomplete. So the Minnesota Golden Gophers at halftime, led by their head coach Glenn Mason, amped up, geeked up, and fired up. They have a 7-point lead at the half. Right now, let's go to Reese in the studio.
Mark, thanks, guys. Every time we have a game in the Metrodome, it seems we have a little controversy with the officials. Remember, Mason was upset he didn't get the home clock when the Gophers played Purdue several weeks back early in the season. Purdue able to pull one out. Gophers still up despite the tough call on the goal line, 28-21. Coming up, when Rod, Mark, and I continue, we will discuss Ohio State and Michigan, the fallout for the Big Ten and the bowl situation, as well as the Big East. Plenty of scores and highlights coming up.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge.